I think good news, if people can look through this, it's very different from the global financial crisis in 2008. And there'll be a lot of pent-up demand globally, particularly for consumers. The American consumer is still in a very strong position, Hadley. And so when this recession ends, as this virus abates, which we hope and pray that it will, you'll see a lot of spring loading into the economy. And so the market will recover more quickly than the economy. But for right now, there's no reason to own those stocks. And you're seeing broad-based capitulation. And obviously, it looks like the Bank of Japan is probably going to begin more asset purchasing, which is why their market is flat. But it's totally understandable to us why equities in the U.S. are limit down right now.
Anthony, what does this mean for President Trump's reelection?
So, you know, you and I saw each other at the Milken conference, and there was a universality of people there that said that President Trump was going to be 100% reelected, and every leading thinker in that room raised their hands. I walked out and turned to you. You did a great job interviewing those people, by the way, and I said, Hadley, there is just too much consensus on the president's reelection. And so I said that night to you that I don't think he's going to get reelected. If you watch the debates in the United States this past evening, it looked like Joe Biden is strong enough and capable enough, and he'll certainly have a galvanized Democratic Party behind him. And he's going to have 5 to 6% of the Republicans behind him as well that have totally disaffected from President Trump. And so when you do the electoral map analytics, it'll likely come down to Wisconsin. And you'll see many of us of a lot of different hats, Republicans, conservatives, and liberal establishment Democrats campaigning for Vice President Biden in those areas of the country. So I think it augurs for an electoral defeat for President Trump, particularly if we get a recession. You typically don't get a two-term president if you're in a recession in an election year. No one saw this coming, but those are the facts, and that probably knocks him out of the box in 2020.
Hi, Anthony. It's Matt here joining the conversation. What if it isn't Joe Biden, though, who is his opponent? What if somehow Bernie Sanders manages to snatch the Democratic nomination? Does that change things?
So I think the president would probably have even to better odds against Bernie Sanders. I don't like answering hypotheticals because, you know, it's likely not going to happen. If you look at the electoral map going forward, Senator Sanders has to win 55.5% of the delegates to get to the nomination total. And Vice President Biden only needs to win about 48% right now. And if you just lay out the map and you look at where these primaries are going to be, the vice president does very, very well with the African-American voting community. And it seems more than likely that he'll start galvanizing that strength. And I think if Bernie Sanders wants to beat Donald Trump, and he said as much tonight during the debate, he'll have to step back and he'll have to convince his voters, unlike in 2016, where frankly they didn't cross over to the extent needed to get Hillary Clinton her electoral success. He's going to have to convince his voters to do that for Joe Biden. I believe he will do that, and I believe those voters, they may want Bernie Sanders, Senator Sanders, more than Vice President Biden, but they certainly don't want President Trump to win a second term. So I think there will be galvanization around Joe Biden. But yes, I think you're right. If Bernie Sanders were to get the nomination, which I predict won't happen, it's sort of even money against the president.